Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it would be fun for me to give you kind of a guide on where I buy my Japanese K-pop albums, because Japanese albums can be harder to find in sometimes, and can be more expensive sometimes. So I thought that this could be a fun video for me to give you kind of where I buy most of my Japanese albums, or where you can look at least, to hope that you guys, can find those albums a little bit easier and help you complete your collection. Like this. They're not just for Shiny. At least one of these things that I'm going to tell you about is specific to Shiny, however, but the other ones will be any group. So if you're someone who's new to buying K-pop albums, or you just have never collected Japanese albums, maybe you want to, you'll notice probably very quickly in looking at them that there's always a billion versions of Japanese albums. Like, you might think Korean albums have a lot of versions. In my experience, Japanese albums just like bury that, because there are so many versions and they're all so expensive, and they're often not that different from each other. Like, they might have limited version A and version B, but the only difference is that one's a DVD and one's a Blu-ray, but they might still have a different cover and like a different photo card if it comes with photo cards. And that's another thing, a lot of Japanese albums, certain versions don't come with photo cards, like the regular version won't come with a photo card, but they're still expensive, which is very sad. Like, for example, this is I believe just the normal version of Shiny's Dance Dance Dance, or DXDXD. I don't really know how to say this album, but it's a regular CD size, and then inside it comes with the CD, and then it does have like a little bit of a photo book. It's not very big, but mostly lyrics, but there's some photos in here. And this album was, you can see it there, 3,000 yen, which is about $30. And this version, at least not anymore, it doesn't come with a photo card at all anymore. I don't know if it ever did. I think it might have just been the limited edition that came with a photo card. But yeah, so like just this for $30 is a lot, and kind of makes it like, why even buy them in the first place? Like, if they don't come with any inclusions or photo cards, why buy them? But if you're crazy like me and you want to collect all the versions, then goodbye to all your money. And here are some places that you could spend that money. So the first place that I'm gonna talk to you about is Yesasia. Looks like this. And this website is great because it has Japanese and Korean albums, and I think like Taiwanese albums as well, but it carries multiple types of albums, which is really useful. So if you want to buy some Korean albums, some Japanese albums, you can do it there. The only thing is with Yesasia is that the album prices are a little bit more expensive than other places. However, they do offer free shipping after a certain amount, which is super useful. So it kind of, if you're buying a lot of stuff, it kind of balances it out at a certain point. And that's actually, Yesasia is actually the place that I bought my first ever albums from, because it was the most reputable, back in 2010, before there was lots of other places to buy albums. So they are a place that I would recommend you at least check out, because they do have albums, especially if you're trying to collect like multiple types of albums. I think that they're a pretty good place for that. The next place that I'll talk to you about is personally my favorite place to buy Japanese albums, and that is Cdjapan. Looks like this. And so this is a place that I buy most of my albums, like most of the new albums that come out, because they have the kind of on-market price for all of the albums. Sometimes you can see that they will have listings for like secondhand cheaper albums, so that's a thing. And they'll have, what I like about them is that they're guaranteed to have all of the versions of the album, except for the fan club version, which I'll get into in a sec. But otherwise they'll have all the versions, so you can kind of go and add them all to the cart and buy them all in one place. Of course, because they don't offer free shipping, the shipping can be quite expensive, and because the albums are on market value, they're also quite expensive. But I find that they come really fast. They've kind of never led me astray. I've never had any issues with any of my orders being placed, so they're a place that I really, really recommend you go check out if you're looking for especially new albums. But they will carry like any in-stock albums, whether or not they're new. If they go out of print, there's probably less likely that you'll find them on there, but if they're still in print, they will be on Cdjapan. So another of the two next places that I'm going to talk to you about are kind of not specific to Japanese albums, but you can find them there, and that is Buyee and eBay are two places. So Buyee or Zen Market, I guess, are two like shopping services that you can use to buy from Yahoo Japan auctions or Mercari Japan, which are two great places to find old stuff, sometimes for cheaper, but sometimes not for cheaper, but that's a place where you can find, I found tons of stuff there that's out of print, that's really rare, and you can find stuff for cheaper there too, like especially if you're looking for photo cards and the albums, because often people like say, we'll separate the photo card and the album, so they'll sell the album for really cheap, and then they'll sell the photo card for maybe a little bit more, but generally you can find kind of anything there. The downside of that is that you have to do a lot more searching because it's like a marketplace like eBay, where people just put up what they have for sale, so you have to kind of keep checking if you're looking for specific things, but they're really great resources to find stuff, and you can often get stuff in bulk, so you can buy like a whole bunch of their Japanese albums in one transaction, which is awesome. And for like some groups like Shiny, can be cheaper, can be more expensive, kind of just depends on what the album is. For a group like Boyfriend, because they're not like that popular anymore, or like maybe they're not popular, it's not the right thing to say, but they definitely have a smaller fan base than they did like way back in the day. So their stuff you can find for so cheap, and I love that because I can just buy a whole bunch. I get to buy like bulk stuff, and it makes me so happy because those albums are for sure out of print. Like I can never find them new, so finding them used is just as good. And you on like Zen Market or Yahoo Japan Auctions or Mercari Japan, even if it says it's used, they're always in immaculate condition, so I don't feel like you have to worry about like them being really damaged, or if they are damaged, they usually have a photo included of like what the damage is, so if you can decide what you care about. eBay is similar, except obviously eBay is for like, is it just like North America, or like, I don't really know where eBay goes, but eBay is another place. I'm sure that a lot of you have used eBay in the past. You can sometimes find stuff there. I do find that the prices sometimes are quite expensive, but you can find photo cards like you know, separately and stuff, so that is another place that you can look for albums. And maybe because I normally look for shiny stuff's really expensive, but maybe other groups are not as expensive, especially if the stuff isn't totally out of print or there's just more of it available. They might not be as expensive, but it's another place to at least look if you're looking for something specific, especially when it comes to the Japanese albums and photo cards and stuff. I found a lot of good stuff on there in the past. And then I know of other places like people will use like I think HMV Japan might have an online website where they can, because I know that people have used like they have like a used section and you can look through the used section. I've never personally bought anything from there, so if you have, please leave a comment down below on what your experience was with that, and I will and I'll link actually down below another YouTuber if I can find her again, because she unboxes a ton of stuff, and I believe that she's used HMV, like the used HMV Japan thing before. So if I can find a video of her doing that, I will link that down below because I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But that could be another place to also look for kind of used Japanese albums. And the last place that I will mention to you guys is a Shiny specific thing, but I'm sure that there are groups like this, or group, because it's a group order manager that I'm going to mention, but I'm sure there's lots of group order managers for all different groups, but the only one that I know of that I've bought from a lot is the Twitter account Shineegoods. I will have it down here what it actually is, and I will link them down below as well. They are my favorite Shiny group order manager because they buy everything. They have everything. It's pre-ordered stuff. Like they don't have stuff like just in stock. It's kind of just like, here's and you fill out a form. It's like they'll open up orders for things. Here's a form, and they are the place that I get all of my fan club exclusive Shiny Japanese stuff. Like for example, this is the fan club edition of Shiny's Sunnyside album. So it is not for sale like publicly. It's only available to Shiny World J fan club members. And for a lot of their albums, they will release fan club editions of the album. I won't pull it out, but right here is Taemin's first full-length album, self-titled Taemin. This is the fan club edition for this as well. And they are it's just a different version of it. So, you know, it's a different version, but it will still come with like, they usually have like a big photo card or something, and then slightly different photo book compared to the other versions. And the fan club versions honestly are usually the coolest of the versions that you can buy. So if you can find a group order manager who's willing to like open up group orders for the fan club editions, I really recommend them. Shineegoods is one that I will recommend. And they do more than just fan club editions, but that's really useful if you are wanting to, because normally for Japanese albums, often I only get one or two of the versions because they're so expensive. But if I can buy the fan club edition, that's like the top tier for me. Like that's what I want more than any of the other versions, because it's like, it's just the coolest looking, the best looking, the nicest version in my opinion. But Shineegoods also will open up orders for like merch and stuff, like merch runs that they will have that generally you don't have access to as a foreign fan. And they do ship worldwide. I believe that they're based in Singapore, but I think that maybe they're based in Singapore, but they also have a USA like branch person who deals with USA orders as well. But they do ship worldwide. I'm from Canada. I've had no issues. And what I love is that, so they opened up recently, just for example, they opened up the Shiny Old Fairy donut collaboration. They opened up merch orders for that, and for the Everland Shiny collaboration merch orders. I know that they sometimes will sell stuff like that online, but sometimes it's quite beneficial to be able to buy it from one place, because for them, I've always, if I know that there's if I buy one thing but then another thing comes that I want, I will put in the notes like, can you combine these two orders? And they've never had any issues doing that, and then you do pay for shipping on top of that. But I've always really liked, they're very communicative and they ship things quite quickly once they arrive. Like, of course, they have no say on what they arrive, because if you've ever tried to buy something from the SM Global shop, the shipping is so stupidly expensive for everything. So I found it useful to go through a group order manager sometimes. For certain things. Some things they will even say like, there's no point in buying it from us, you might as well, because the shipping will be the same because it's a heavy or big item or whatever. But for a lot of like little things, it's like, yeah, like just combine all of them if they come out within a certain amount of time. And it's great. I love that it just gives me such access to stuff. And they also will do fan made stuff. Like there was like the shiny lightsaber thing, or they'll open up orders, say a Taemin has that little like Donald Duck keychain clipped to his belt, so they opened up group orders for that. Or when you had the little like dinosaur keychain, and they opened up group orders for that. Like, so they'll open up things like that as well, which I love, because it just gives you access to stuff that as a foreign fan you wouldn't necessarily have as much access to. And I really, really recommend them. If you're a Shiny fan, I recommend them. They are the best. If you are a fan of other groups, let me know down below what group order managers you recommend for them, so that it can be like a resource for other people who don't just stand Shiny to come and find maybe new group order managers or people to help them buy stuff. But yeah, I think that is kind of the main places that I buy my Japanese albums from. Again, leave a comment down below if you buy from anywhere else. And just because I want to find new places too, and I think it could be good to have like one place for somebody to come to find where they can buy all of their silly Japanese albums without actually having to like go to Japan. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in whatever my next video ends up being. Bye!